Alright everybody, welcome back to another video. Here we have a tower of retro power. Yes, we have three old computers on the bench today. These all seem to be 80s or 90s systems. Up top we have an old Memorex-Telex, which is the same Memorex that makes, or at least used to make, CDs and stuff. It's a Memorex-Telex model 846-33. Next we have a Tandy 1000, original Tandy 1000, personal computer, which looks like it's had some modifications in its life. And then at the bottom we have a one owner, or I guess now a two owner, GoldStar 386 33 megahertz desktop computer. We're going to start off on the lower floor. We're going to work our way up, going through these old systems. So we're going to start off with the GoldStar 386. I have not powered this machine on myself. However, I've seen it run during the whole transaction thing, and in the listing it had its original copy of MS-DOS still on it. However, MS-DOS might have been deleted between when the listing was put up and when I bought it, because it didn't look like it had an operating system when it was just kind of sitting there idling. And she said that she tried to remove any personal files off of it, but might have ended up deleting more than that. So that'll be an interesting one. It's a little unfortunate, I guess, but that's okay. I mean, the hardware is still here. Okay, we are with the GoldStar. It has a reset and turbo button, a key lock in the unlocked position, luckily. It has a vertical floppy drive, and it has a big 5 1/4 inch floppy drive. It's a pretty nice setup right there. All it needs now is an old school CD-ROM drive with like one of those cartridge things. So we're gonna dig into this one. I have not seen the inside of this. Coming around to the back, looks like we have at least a couple peripheral cards, or at least some breakout cables. Looks like we have a dial-up modem and a graphics card with a dip switch on it. So that's going to be kind of cool. Big old school power switch. AT keyboard switch. I actually have the original AT keyboard for this, and it's right here. This is the original keyboard, and it is extremely worn down. Enter right here. See how much that button moves? Enter's completely worn off. A lot of the numpad keys are really worn down. This was a financial computer for I believe an electrical business, a small electrical business. So it did a lot of work. GoldStar technology. Now GoldStar is what the G stands for in LG. It became LG during the 90s at some time. I'm guessing this computer is probably from about 1990 by looking at it. Maybe 90 to 93, 89 to 93, somewhere in there. Super late 80s or early 90s. But yeah, let's dig in. There we go. Top of the case is extremely clean. Just a couple dust bunnies. I see some goodies in here. But first I'm going to get the camera up. Power supply has a manufacture date of August 1991. One of my trucks would be 2 months old. Looks like we have a Western Digital Caviar hard drive. Date stamped September 1st, 1991. We are fully loaded on RAM. Got the graphics card, the dial-up modem, and then we do have a controller card in here. So this is full of cool stuff. Ooh, it's got an AMD 386. That's really cool. Looks like we lucked out here. No Varta battery. It's got a battery pack instead, these Rayovac things. Computer clock battery. These are really easy to replace. They are 4.5 volts though, not 3 volts. So you're gonna have to try to make up for that. Well, after a painfully long time with the vacuum cleaner, This thing is finally clean. Let's take a look at this RAM. It looks all identical. No capacity marked. It is a Siemens RAM with chips marked as 1991 and 1990. Yep, it is all identical. All right, that's popped out. This is very loose. We're gonna have to fix that. Any guesses? Any guesses? And I have no idea. Oh, it's Oak Technologies. I don't know what kind of model it is. Here's the map for that dip switch. Right now we're set to VGA mono. It's up, down, down, up. And that is what VGA mono is. I'm going to set it to VGA color. Looks like the VRAM is made by Samsung. It's kind of cool. It is an original GoldStar data modem with chip dates of 1991. GoldStar, made in Korea. That's where LG is from. Like I said, that is what LG was back in the day. It's GoldStar. Here's our disk controller card. It's nothing special. Has one IDE, so it looks like no CDs getting in here. At least not with this card, or only this card. It's got a game port built in, kind of cool. COM2, floppy A. A lot of jumpers, not gonna mess with those. Date stamp marked as 6th week of 1991. Well, I'm not going to take the gang of 3 out, that of course being floppy A, B, or the C drive. However, you're going to have to take my word for this. This is a Chinon drive right here. This is a TIAC drive right here. And the Western Digital C drive. Down there is our beautiful Advanced Micro Devices AM386 DXL-33 CPU. As far as I'm aware, I have been the first person to open this machine up, and boy did the dust tell me that. There was so much in here. Alright, computer power on. Take my wife, for example, please. There we go. 1024K of RAM. Quad-Tel BIOS. So it looks like I booted into DOS. That date is not far off for a nearly 35-year-old battery. Holy cow. Yeah, sure, we'll go with that. Compact DOS, of course, version 3.31. Looks like we do have some stuff on there. One thing is for sure though, this is one quiet hard drive. You can hear that it is spinning. It's just so quiet. It's about a 120 megabyte drive. And just like that, formatted the hard drive, put MS-DOS on it, version 6.22. Figured that was extremely fitting for an old 386. So yeah, this one's good to go. And just because I have to, I had to throw in some Wolfenstein 3D while I still have this computer on the bench. And while we don't have a sound card, we can still play. However, this is much harder than it would be if I did have a sound card, so I really need to get my hands on an ISA sound card. I love how smooth the graphics are, though. That old Oak Technologies graphics card is really cool. Seems to be a decent card for 1991. And next up, we have this old beast right here. This is an original Tandy 1000, not one of the, you know, they have something like an EX and an SX and stuff like that. This is the original Tandy 1000. This is a pretty rare computer. at least compared to the other ones. And this one's pretty special because the serial number is only 1,800. So yeah, we're dealing with an early one here. This has got to be an 84 or maybe a super early 85 if I had to guess. It has its blemishes though. It has this light right here that somebody drilled and installed. This is an aftermarket thing. We also have some stickers on the floppy drives. That's fine. It's also got this sticker right here with a 313 area code, so wherever that's from. This computer is a little rough. It has no screws on the front, so the case just kind of can come right off. So yeah, but let's open it up. Just on a little side note, I do actually have a keyboard adapter for this, which converts this style of connector, the Tandy connector, to PS2. So yeah, this is not an AT keyboard or anything like that. This is totally different, and it needs a chip that converts the languages between these two because it's not PS2 compatible. So let's open this thing up. It's as simple as that. You can see, yeah, this thing's old. It's got a big speaker for the PC speaker. I bet that thing's loud. We have our 2 floppy drives. We got some cards in here. Hey, check it out. It's got an AMD chipset in it. Let's see those date codes. 84. Yeah, mid 84. Mid summer to fall of 84 based on those chips. That's incredibly early for a Tandy 1000. I mean, based on the serial number, you can tell this is an early one, but it was released in November of 84, I think. So this had to be one of the first ones off the store shelf. Probably bought just in time for Christmas. Back in 1984. It's got a big old school fan on it. It's very cool. There's our processor down there. It's an AMD 8088. So, classic processor. Let's get these cards out of here and see what they are. It looks like we have a controller of some sort. No hard drive, unfortunately, and I think that's what this LED was for and what this card was controlling. And it looks like the first card that has to come out is this one right here. It's like a disc controller card made by Western Digital. WDC, copyright 1985. Western Digital Co. When was this actually made? 8714 on that thing up. Right there. So this card is an 87. Kind of interesting how they had to curl this. It's got a Sony chip on it. It's kind of cool. There's a nice look at that. Hong Kong. And this looks like a dial-up modem. I already see a big date stamp on it. Loud and proud. That is a huge dial-up modem with a big speaker on it. There's our date code, 8646. This would have been late 1986. And it's a double layer card too. Wow. I would love to see what kind of bulletin board stuff this would have connected to. Very, very cool. Even though it's completely useless. Look at all that RAM too. Micron and Samsung RAM. Very cool. And that gives us a better look at that processor, the 8088, with a date stamp of 8433, so 33rd week of 1984, a copyright date of 1982. Tandy Corp, copyright 1984, made in USA. Unlike the other systems, this one actually has a plastic shell on it. So, Yeah. This is also easily the oldest system out of the three, in case that wasn't obvious. Coming around to the back side, you have ports for audio and video, RGB monitor, and a light pen. Yep, a light pen. Oh, and let's not forget printer. And this thing is so old that I had to break out the first thing I ever repaired, or I guess had repaired. This old 1980s KTV color television set with faux wood grain. Alrighty, let's test out the Beverly Hills Cop, Ferris Bueller, Back to the Future, Breakfast Club, MTV Special Edition, 1984 computer. That stuff's all from the mid-80s, right? Alright, let's give her a shot. Oh, I gotta tune it. Whoa, that ain't good. That looks like a RAM failure. Yep. Let's power it off and see if that's just a bad startup. Nope. Yeah. This one's got some problems. I don't want to run it for too long like that. Well, that's unfortunate, but I guess we got a project for an upcoming video. Next, here we have a Memorex-Telex model 8046-33. Yes, that is the Memorex that makes the CDRs and floppy disks and stuff like that. They made computers back in the day. I didn't know that until I saw this, and I was like, whoa, they made computers? And yep, that's right. So, here it is. Coming around to the back, looks like we have a graphics card, VGA, LPT1, COM1 and COM2, and an AT port. We have a card that went missing over here. It's just like the GoldStar, where it has a little thing for the monitor. At least I think that's what that's for. Missing a screw on this side. And despite the missing screws, let's see what this Memorex has to hide. Alright, all of our screws are out. Let's see, does this one come back, I'd imagine, or forward? Oh, it looks like forward. Just like that. And of course it's got a riser. But check that out, weirdly enough, it has ISA slots that go this way. So this motherboard must have been used in a couple different cases. This is a weird form factor, by the way. It's way longer than it is wider. Even though it doesn't really look like that on camera, it is like noticeably longer than it is wider. Rusted power supply. It's always a good thing. Hey, we got another one of these things, but like smaller. Capacity's the same, or at least the voltage is the same. Rayovac Corporation, Madison, Wisconsin, made in USA. I have driven past that old Rayovac factory a couple times, actually, when I head down to Madison. It's a couple hours away from me. I do not recognize that chip manufacturer, but I'm sure that somebody watching probably will. We do have 92 date codes. First week of 92 up there. It's pretty dusty in here, but not as bad as the first one. RAM, we have some RAM. 4 sticks. It's got metal tabs too, so we can take it out without ruining it. It is 4 identical sticks of this right here. It looks like Fairchild chips. I think that's what that logo is from around the middle of 92. I don't know the capacity of this RAM though. Yeah, I think that's Fairchild. The suspicions are becoming true, I believe. 486DX ISA BIOS. From who? Looks like American Megatrends, probably. Do you see what I see on that chip? I see the AMD logo. So I bet this is another AMD system. There's a CPU. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to it though, because look at that's riveted on, and I don't know how I would get that off because everything is like riveted on. So I'm just not going to bother with that. Hopefully we can find out in software. We'll at least be able to see what it is, but not who made it. So yeah. Anyways, let's move on to these cards. So here is that graphics card. It says made in Canada. So that's kind of an interesting place for something to be made. I think ATI used to be Canadian, so I wouldn't be surprised if this was an ATI card of some sort. It's got this weird connector thing up top. I'm guessing that's to link it to another identical graphics card. I don't know if dual cards were a thing back then. It's caught up on the wire for the battery. All right, big reveal. And Japan, it is an ATI card. Okay. From 1992. Look at all that RAM. Texas Instruments. That is a cool little graphics card. Those other things are just breakout stuff, so no more cards, unfortunately. But I think this being an ATI card kind of made up for it. I don't know if ATI cards were particularly good, but it's a name I recognize, so I find it kind of cool. I'm not like a big computer person either. So I'm just going to seat that back in and screw it back down. When I got down in there to screw this card back in, I got a whiff of the Smoker's Choice here. And I think they were menthol flavored ones because it's kind of got this like icy kind of flavor to it in addition to the cigarette. So yeah. No math coprocessor. I think that's what that is right there. I know that the big 386 machine had the same style of thing going on, and it was also not there. It does have a hard drive down in there. Looks like, well, I can't really tell what that is. Up here is a Panasonic drive. So, all cool. I think, see that American Megatrends thing? I think that big I there means Intel, so who knows who made that CPU. It's got an AMD chip on one side and a Intel one on the other. Of course, it's got a big old school real PC speaker, not a little, piezo speaker, or however you pronounce that. So, cool. Like I said, I'm no computer person, so I don't know what this, it looks like an ISA slot, kind of. I don't know what this thing's doing way out here. Maybe a RAM expansion? Like you could put a card in that would have more RAM? I don't know. Just a guess. Well, I was just dying to see what that hard drive was, so of course I had to take the floppy drive out to look. It's a Connor IDE drive. The original IDE drive. Connor, I think, made the first commercially available IDE drive, so that's what I mean by the original IDE drive. I don't see anything on here that has to do with size, though. Nothing of the sort. It is from 1992, though, so it's probably original. Check out these rail things right here. Is that what those are? Are those like rails you can take out of there and use? I don't know. I'm not going to touch them, so yeah, just thought they were neat. I don't know exactly what that is. Alrighty. Looks a little different with the keyboard up top than that other one does. Maybe that's a little better. This is the only system out of the three that has a power switch on the front, by the way. Not the way back on the side or on the back. Monitor's turning on. Oh, look at that. It's posting. CMOS battery state low. F1. Alright, standard CMOS setup. Yes. Ah, yeah, that's pretty dead. It thinks it's January 1st, 1980. 10 in the morning. Not installed. There is a C drive installed. 80 megabytes. Sure, we'll do it. Yeah. Nothing installed there. Just the 3.5. This must have been a pretty low-end computer when it was new, because it doesn't even have a 5.25 inch. Or even a slot for one, for that matter. No. Yes, I'm not super worried about writing to CMOS because it's dead anyway. So as soon as the computer turns off, it's just gonna kill it. I have no activity from that hard drive. And it just gave me a C drive failure. So, yeah. But hey, we're on this screen right here. We can see that it's a 486DX, or I guess a 487SX. 640K of base memory with 3.328K of extended memory. AMI BIOS date, December 12th, 1991. And I think that's as far as I'm going to get with this one today, because I don't have a storage device for it. So, I mean, I guess actually, why don't I get something on a 3.5 inch floppy and see if it will at least boot to an operating system, just running off the floppy drive. Alrighty, let's see if this will work right here. It is not a Memorex disk, unfortunately. However, hopefully it should still work. Obviously it will. But yes, I made this one with the Micron. I should have probably made it with the GoldStar, but I made it with the Micron. I think technically it will say booting Windows 98, and then it'll just go into DOS. So I made it on MS-DOS with 98. So... let's see here. It's got to load. Yep, starting Windows 98. Obviously, it's not going to go into like the graphic environment or anything. Yep, there we go. We're in DOS, I think. Let's do that. Yes, yeah, I mean, it's Windows 98, I guess. Directory. Yep, just the one file. Okay, well, I guess we have a project on our hands, and that is getting a storage device for this. Now, we can go with buying an old hard drive off of eBay, but they're rarely ever tested. Or we could go the route of getting something modern and solid state, like this thing right here. Now, of course, that card is way too big for this machine. I think 2 gigs max for this computer before it doesn't even recognize it. So I'm probably just going to go with like a 512 megabyte CF card or whatever. If I go the CF card route, it's kind of like a big SD card if you've never seen one of these things. It does need to be a bootable style one too. I know that you can buy those on eBay, but yeah. Now, when you do go the CF card route, or any route actually, come to think of it, you're going to need to find out the cylinders, the heads, the whatever, because this doesn't have auto detection for the hard drive. You have to manually enter in the hard drive is this many megabytes, it has this many cylinders, this many heads, this many sectors or whatever. And obviously this doesn't have cylinders, heads, sectors, whatever the heck other terms. So you're going to need to find that out somehow. And I think you can put it in a computer that does have auto detection and make it tell you what it reads it as. And then you can just write that down and then put it into this BIOS and it should work. I haven't tried it though. So yeah, I've been waiting to use this. I found this at a surplus store. So I thought I just had to get that, and it's too perfect. So I think that'll do it for this computer. I just remembered, we forgot to test the 3.5-inch drive on this thing. So I'm going to try to read this disk in it. Oh, that's a good noise. Sounds like the fan is going bad. It does seek the drive, so I think it should work. I don't like that fan noise though. I'm gonna have to do something about that. Oops, upside down. Yep, it works. It works just fine. Cool. Well, here is the old Tower of Power. Vintage power, that is. I had a lot of fun going through these systems. I thank you for watching. I think this has a very bright future as a nice MS-DOS gaming and program machine. This one is going to need a lot of work, probably the most work out of all these systems. And it'll be an interesting one. I really don't know what is wrong with it yet. I haven't tested anything other than throwing some power through it. This one up here is probably going to need a new hard drive, unfortunately, or else a new storage device that can act as the fixed disk. Like I said, all in all, very fun video to go through these systems. And yes, again, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.